The old man was left alone by his children. But a stranger changed his life. Abraham Miller couldn't stop trembling as he looked at the empty house. The furniture was gone. The curtains his wife had chosen 30 years ago were no longer there. Even the wedding portrait from the living room wall had disappeared. His 3 children had taken everything while he was in the hospital, 4 days hospitalized because of pneumonia, and when he returned home, he found only bare walls and an old mattress thrown on the bedroom floor. They hadn't even left a note explaining. "Hello? Jacob?" He tried calling his eldest son for the 5th time that morning. The call went straight to voicemail. He tried Rachel. Same thing. Ethan, the youngest, had blocked his number. Abraham sat on the floor of the empty living room. His 72 years weighed on his knees. The house he had built with his own hands 40 years ago now seemed like a hollow shell. It echoed with emptiness like his chest. He didn't cry. Not yet. The pain was too great for tears. The cell phone rang. For a second his heart leaped. Maybe it was Jacob explaining that it was all a misunderstanding, but it was just a message from the carrier about the bill being due. Abraham got up with difficulty and walked to the kitchen. He opened the cabinet. Empty. He opened the refrigerator. Nothing. They hadn't even left a glass of water. He went back to the living room and sat down again. He stayed there, motionless, staring into nothing as the sun streamed through the curtainless windows. The hours passed. He didn't move. The afternoon faded. Night fell. Abraham remained seated in the same spot. The next day, he was still there. His throat burned with thirst, but he didn't have the strength to get up. Thoughts spun in circles inside his head. What had he done wrong? Where had he failed as a father? He raised the 3 alone after Sarah passed, worked double shifts at the auto shop to give his children an education, paid for all 3 to go to college, never let them want for anything. And now this. They took everything and vanished without a word. That's when he heard a knock at the door. Abraham didn't move. Maybe it was his imagination. The knock came again, more insistent. "Anyone home?" A man's voice called from outside. Abraham stayed quiet. He didn't want to see anyone. "Mr. Abraham, are you there? It's Caleb. I'm here to deliver a package." The old man sighed. He hadn't ordered anything. It must be a mistake. The knocking continued. "Mr. Abraham, please, I need you to sign here." With great effort, Abraham stood up. His legs were numb from staying in the same position for so long. He staggered to the door and opened it. A young man of about 25 was there with a box in his hands. He wore the red uniform of a logistics company. He had short stubble and dark eyes that widened when he saw Abraham's condition. "Sir, are you okay?" Abraham shook his head slowly. "Must be the wrong address." "No, it's right here. Maple Street, number 47. Abraham Miller." "That's me, but I didn't order anything." The young man looked at the box. "It says here it's a gift. But look, you don't look so good. Do you want me to call someone?" "No need." Abraham took the box, signed the paper the young man offered, and tried to close the door. But his legs gave way. He grabbed the door frame, trying not to fall. Caleb dropped the clipboard on the floor and held the old man's arm. "Easy, easy. I've got you." "You can go, son. I'm fine." "You're not fine at all. Come on. Let's get you sitting down." Caleb practically carried Abraham back inside the house. He stopped, surprised to see the living room completely empty. "Where's all the furniture?" Abraham didn't answer. Caleb helped him sit on the floor, leaning against the wall. "Wait here." The young man ran to the van parked on the street and came back with a bottle of water. He opened it and offered it to Abraham, who drank desperately. "Slow, slow," Caleb urged. Abraham drank almost the entire bottle. Only then did he realize how thirsty he was. "When was the last time you ate?" The old man tried to remember. Had it been at the hospital? That was the day before yesterday, or before yesterday. The days were jumbled in his head. "I don't know." Caleb looked around again. The empty house, the old man on the floor, the abandoned look of everything. "What happened here?" "Nothing that concerns you. Look, I know we don't know each other, but you're not well at all. Let me call someone from your family." "I don't have a family." Abraham's voice came out sharp. Caleb was quiet for a moment. Okay, then at least let me bring you some food. I'll come back after my shift. You don't need to. I'll bring it anyway. Caleb picked up the clipboard from the floor and left before Abraham could protest again. The old man stayed there sitting, holding the empty water bottle. Only then did he notice the box that had arrived. He opened it with difficulty. Inside was a new blanket with a card. To the best father in the world. Happy birthday. With love, your children. Abraham felt something break inside his chest. His birthday had been last week, while he was hospitalized with pneumonia. The date none of his children called to congratulate him. This box must have been ordered before they decided to abandon him. He pressed the blanket to his chest and finally cried. He cried as he hadn't cried since the day Sarah left. He cried until he had no tears left. When the sun began to set again, Caleb returned as promised. He brought a hot meal and more water. Brought some food. Abraham was in the same spot with the blanket wrapped around his shoulders. He had stopped crying, but his eyes were red and swollen. Caleb sat on the floor beside him and opened the meal. The smell of meatloaf and mashed potatoes filled the empty room. Eat. Why are you doing this? Because someone needs to. Abraham took the meal and ate slowly. It was hot and seasoned, the best food he'd tasted in a long time, even though it was simple. Thank you. Caleb shrugged. No problem. Look, I don't know what happened here, but no one deserves to be like this. My children took everything, Abraham blurted out suddenly. While I was in the hospital, they took the furniture, the savings I had put away, even the pots and pans from the kitchen. And they left? They left. Caleb fell silent, processing that. That's heavy. It's what I deserve, I guess. I must have failed as a father. Don't talk like that. A child who abandons a sick father isn't right in the head, no matter what happened before. Abraham finished eating. For the first time in days, he felt a little strength returning to his body. What's your name again? Caleb. Caleb Vance. Do you have a family, Caleb? The young man hesitated. I have my mother. We get by as best we can. She must be proud to have a son like you. I don't know. I do what I can. Caleb picked up the empty meal container. I should get going. I'll stop by again tomorrow to see how you're doing. You don't need to trouble yourself. I already said I'm coming anyway. And Caleb really did return the next day. And the next. And the next. He always brought food and stayed to chat a little with Abraham. The old man began to look forward to those visits. They were the only thing that gave any meaning to the empty days. On the fourth visit, Caleb arrived earlier than usual. Brought a surprise. He pulled a plastic chair from behind his back. Thought you'd prefer sitting in a chair rather than on the floor. Abraham felt a lump in his throat. Thank you, son. The word came out without him thinking. Caleb smiled awkwardly. They sat on the floor anyway, because there was only one chair. They ate together from the meal Caleb brought. Can I ask you a question? Caleb said after a while. Go ahead. Why don't you go after your kids? Like, can't you sue them or something? Abraham sighed. What for? They made it clear they want nothing more to do with me, and I don't have money for a lawyer. I'm not even sure what they took anymore because I didn't inventory anything. But they took your savings. That's not right. A lot in life isn't right, Caleb. You learn to accept it. I don't agree. You shouldn't accept this. Abraham looked at the young man. He saw genuine indignation in those eyes. It had been a long time since someone cared about him like that. You remind me of someone. Who? Myself, when I was your age. I also thought I could fix all the world's injustices. And you can't. You can try, but eventually you get tired. Caleb became thoughtful. You know what I think? I think you gave up too quickly. Son, how old are you? 25? 26. 26. When you're 72, tell me if you still think that way. I will, and I'll hold you to this conversation. They laughed together. It was the first time Abraham had laughed since he got back from the hospital. The days went by. Caleb kept showing up. He started bringing small things besides food, a pillow, Some plates, cutlery, glasses. Nothing expensive, but all useful. "Where are you getting the money for all this?" Abraham asked one day. "I'm working overtime and the meals are from my mom. She sends them. Does your mother know you're bringing them to me?" "She knows. I told her about you. She said that those who help people in need always get it back somehow." "She sounds like a wise woman." "Yeah. She raised me all by herself. My father left when I was 6. I never saw him again." Abraham understood then. Caleb knew what abandonment felt like. That's why he cared. "I'm sorry." "No need to be sorry. I had her, and she was worth 10 fathers." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. One afternoon, Caleb arrived with a different expression. He looked worried. "Did something happen?" Abraham asked. "I need to tell you something, but I don't know how you'll react." "Go ahead." Caleb took a deep breath. "I found your son, Jacob." Abraham's blood ran cold. "How?" "I looked for him. Searched on social media. Found his profile. He lives here in the city, in a gated community in Lincoln Park." "You shouldn't have done that." "I know, but I did. And there's more. I messaged him." Abraham felt his chest tighten. "You did what?" "Calm down, let me explain. I sent a message saying I was a friend of yours and that you needed help. I thought maybe he didn't know about the situation, you know, that it might be a misunderstanding." "And what did he say?" Caleb lowered his eyes. "He said that you chose to live that way, that they offered help and you refused, that you're too proud and like to play the victim." The words hit Abraham like punches. "He said that?" "He did. And he blocked my number right after." Abraham was silent for a long time. Caleb regretted having spoken. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have meddled." "No. You did the right thing. At least now I know." "Know what?" "That it wasn't a misunderstanding. That it wasn't a passing anger. They really abandoned me on purpose." Abraham's voice was firm, but inside he was crumbling again. All that time, a part of him still hoped his children would come back, saying it had been a mistake, that they missed him, that they were sorry. Now there was no more doubt. They had discarded him like an old, useless object. "Abraham, is there something you're not telling me?" Caleb asked carefully. "Why do they hate you so much?" The old man closed his eyes. That question haunted him every night. "I wish I knew too. There must be a reason. If there is, they never told me. In recent years, the relationship cooled off. They stopped visiting me. When I called, they always had an excuse not to answer. At first, I thought it was just their busy lives, their work. Then I realized it was different, it was deliberate." "And you never asked why?" I asked, several times, but they dodged the question. Said I was being dramatic, that I was making things up in my head. "That doesn't make sense." "I know." Caleb scratched his beard, thoughtful. "And their mother? Can't you talk to her?" Abraham felt the old pain return. "Sarah passed away 15 years ago. Cancer. I'm so sorry. After she left, everything changed. The boys grew distant. Each went their own way. I also buried myself in work to forget the pain. I think we drifted apart without even noticing. But that doesn't justify what they did. It doesn't justify it, but maybe it explains it." They were silent for a while. The afternoon sun came in through the curtainless windows, drawing shadows on the empty wall. "You know what I think?" Caleb said suddenly. "I think you need to stop looking for an explanation. Some people just do bad things. There's no why, there's no excuse. Are you talking about your father too?" Caleb gave a sad smile. "I'm talking about both, about my father and your sons. You're too young to be so bitter." "I'm not bitter, just realistic." Abraham looked at this young man who had appeared out of nowhere in his life, who brought food every day, who cared without asking for anything in return, who had more heart than his own sons. "You know, Caleb, I still don't understand why you do all this. I already told you, because someone needs to. But why you specifically? You don't know me. I'm just an abandoned old man you happened to find. Caleb was quiet for a few seconds before answering. Because I know the pain of being left behind. I know the feeling that you're worthless to someone who's supposed to love you. And I know that in those moments, you need someone, anyone, to show there's still kindness in the world. Who did that for you when your father left? No one. And it was awful. That's why I do it for you. The words hung in the air. Abraham felt tears burning in his eyes, but this time they weren't tears of sadness. They were of gratitude. You're a good kid, Caleb. I'm no saint, just trying to do the right thing. In the following weeks, the routine continued. Caleb came every day after work. They talked, ate together, sometimes just sat in silence, sharing each other's company. Abraham began to feel he had a reason to wake up in the morning. It wasn't just the pain and emptiness anymore. There was that visit at the end of the day. There was someone who cared. But then something happened that changed everything. It was a Thursday when Caleb arrived looking grim. Did something happen? Abraham asked right away. I got a job offer in another city. Abraham's heart sank. Another city? In Chicago. A bigger logistics company. Better salary, benefits, a proper contract. It's everything I need to really help my mum. That's good, you deserve it. The words came out automatically, but inside, Abraham felt panic growing. Not again. He wasn't going to be abandoned again. I don't know if I'll accept it. What do you mean? It's a great opportunity. But you're here, alone. I can't just leave and abandon you. Of course you can. You have your own life, Caleb. You can't waste an opportunity because of an old man you barely know. But I care about you. And I care about you too. That's why I'm telling you to accept it. Caleb sat in the plastic chair he had brought weeks ago. He put his face in his hands. I don't know what to do. Take the job. Go to Chicago. Take care of your mother. Live your life. And you? I'll manage. I always have. I can't believe you're saying this. You can't even buy groceries. There's nothing in the house. There's no one. I'll figure something out. How? Abraham didn't have an answer for that. But he couldn't be selfish. He couldn't hold back this young man who had already done so much for him. I don't know how, but I'll figure something out. Caleb looked at him with an expression of sadness and frustration mixed together. I have a week to decide. Then decide right. That week was the hardest since his children had left him. Abraham saw Caleb arriving every day and knew it was a countdown. Soon that young man would leave and he would be alone again. He tried to convince himself he would be fine. He tried to make plans for how he would survive. But deep down he knew he was lying to himself. Without Caleb, he would probably waste away in that empty house until he had no strength left. On Friday, Caleb arrived earlier than usual. I need to tell you something, he said, before even coming in. You're going to accept the position, Abraham finished for him. I don't know yet, but I want to show you something. Caleb took an envelope from his pocket and handed it to Abraham. What is this? Open it. Abraham opened it with trembling hands. Inside was money, several $50 and $100 bills. Where did you get this? I sold my car, that old jalopy that barely ran anyway. Caleb, have you lost your mind? No, I did the right thing. This is enough for you to buy a few things. Some clothes, some furniture. You can pay the overdue bills too. I can't accept this. Yes, you will. I won't let you go without. Caleb. And there's more. I talked to some friends. They work in moving. They said if you want, they can arrange some used furniture for you. It's nothing great, but it's better than nothing. Abraham looked at that money, then at the young man in front of him. He felt like he was going to break down in tears again. Why are you doing all this? Because you don't deserve to be alone like this. But you need this money. Your mother needs it. My mother has my salary, and if I go to Chicago, I'll earn more. We'll manage. And you? How will you manage without a car? I'll take the bus. It's not the end of the world. Abraham pressed the envelope to his chest. He couldn't hold back the tears anymore. Thank you. Thank you, son. Caleb hugged the old man. The two stood there, embraced in the middle of that empty room as the sun set outside. So you're going to accept the position? Abraham asked after they separated. I haven't decided yet, but if I go, I want to be sure you'll be okay. With this money I will be, thank you, Caleb, truly. But even as he said it, Abraham knew the money wasn't the problem. The problem was the loneliness, the silence, the emptiness of having no one. And when Caleb left, everything would go back to how it was before. Only now it would be worse because he would have known what it was like to have someone again. And then he'd have to face losing that person too. On Saturday, Caleb's friends showed up with a small truck. They brought a worn but comfortable sofa, a table with 2 chairs, a single bed, some pots and utensils, an old wardrobe that was still usable. Abraham watched as they set everything up in the house. For the first time in over a month, his house looked like a home again. How much do I owe? He asked. Nothing, one of the guys answered. Caleb already settled everything with us. But let it be, Mr. Abraham. Caleb is our brother. If he's helping you, we help too. When everyone had left, and it was just him and Caleb again, Abraham sat on the sofa. It was a bit sunken on one side, but it was the most comfortable piece of furniture he had sat on in weeks. I don't even know what to say. You don't need to say anything, Caleb replied, sitting beside him. You just need to promise you'll use this money right. Buy food, pay the bills, take care of yourself. I promise. And if you need anything, call me. Even if I'm in Chicago, call me. So you've decided? Caleb sighed. My mother is insisting I accept. Says it's stupid to refuse an opportunity like this. That you yourself will be mad if I don't go. Your mother is smart. She is. That's why I'm leaning towards accepting. Then accept it. But I'm going to miss you, Mr. Abraham. And I'm going to miss you, son. The word came out again. Son. Abraham didn't even notice when he said it anymore. It was natural. Caleb had been more of a son in the last few months than his own children had been in years. You know, Caleb said after a silence, my mother wants to meet you. Really? Yeah. I talk about you so much she's curious. She wants to invite you for lunch at our house tomorrow. I don't want to be any trouble. It's no trouble. She's already cooking. Says she wants to thank me for finding someone who makes me happy. I make you happy. Of course. You make me feel like I'm making a difference, you know? That my life has a purpose beyond just working and sleeping. Abraham was touched. Then I accept the invitation. On Sunday, Caleb came by in the morning to pick up Abraham. They took a bus to the neighborhood where he lived with his mother, a simple but tidy area of the South Side. Caleb's mother was named Martha. She was a woman in her early 50s, hair starting to go gray, with a wide, warm smile. She welcomed Abraham as if she'd known him for years. So you're the famous Mr. Abraham. Caleb never stops talking about you. That boy exaggerates, Abraham replied awkwardly. It's no exaggeration. He tells me everything. How strong you are, how wise you are. I wanted to meet you. The house was small but cozy. It smelled of home cooking. Martha had prepared a hearty lunch, meatloaf, mashed potatoes, roast chicken, salad, pasta. She even had pudding for dessert. During lunch, Martha told stories about when Caleb was a child, how he was always helping others, even when they themselves barely had enough to eat. Once he was about 8, she recounted with a laugh. He gave his school lunch to a boy who hadn't brought one. He came home starving, but happy, because he'd helped someone. Mom, stop, Caleb pleaded, embarrassed. It's true, you've always been like that, a soft heart. Abraham smiled. He understood now where the young man's kindness came from. After lunch, while Martha washed the dishes, Abraham and Caleb stayed on the small porch talking. Your mother is special. She is. She's the one who taught me to be who I am. She raised a good man. I tried. I don't always get it right, but I try. Abraham looked at the blue sky of the Sunday afternoon. He felt a peace he hadn't felt in a long time. There, in that simple house with those good people, he had found something he no longer had in his own family. He had found love. When the sun began to set, Martha insisted that Abraham take meals for the week. She filled several containers with food and put them in a bag. I won't take no for an answer. Caleb told me you don't eat properly. Now you'll have food for the whole week. You really didn't have to. Yes, I did. And it's decided. You're having lunch here every Sunday from now on. Abraham felt his eyes well up. Thank you, Mrs. Martha. You and your son are angels. Angels, nothing. We're just people trying to make the world a little less cruel. On the way back on the bus, Abraham looked out the window thoughtfully. Your mother is a lot like you. Or I'm like her, Caleb corrected. True, you both have the same heart. Caleb smiled. You know, she gave me the answer I needed today. About Chicago? Yeah, she said I need to go, that it's the chance of a lifetime. But she also said that no matter where I go, I can always come back. That family isn't just blood, it's who you choose. Abraham understood the message. She's right. So I'm going to accept the position. But I'll come back to visit whenever I can, and you can call me whenever you need to, and every Sunday I'm here. We have lunch at my house, that's a promise. Promise. On Monday, Caleb confirmed he would accept the job in Chicago. He would start in 2 weeks. Those 14 days passed too quickly for Abraham. He used the money Caleb had given him to buy new clothes, pay the overdue household bills, and do a big grocery run. For the first time in a long while, his refrigerator was full. But he knew that when Caleb left, that sense of purpose would leave with him. On the last day before the move, Caleb stopped by Abraham's house to say goodbye. The two sat on the old sofa that Caleb's friends had brought over. So it's tomorrow, Abraham said. Yeah, I'm leaving very early. My mother is going with me to help me get settled. Chicago is a beautiful city. You'll like it. I hope so. They were silent for a while. There were so many things Abraham wanted to say, but he didn't know how. It was Caleb who broke the silence. You changed my life, Mr. Abraham, you know that. Me? You're the one who changed mine. No. You taught me something important. You taught me it's worth caring, that it's worth helping. Because when you help someone, you help yourself too. I don't know if I taught you that. I think you already knew. Maybe. But you confirmed it, and that's important. Abraham held the young man's hand. Caleb, you came into my life at the moment I needed it most, when I'd given up on everything, when I thought it wasn't worth going on anymore, and you showed me that there is still kindness in the world, that there are still good people. I don't know how to thank you for that. You don't have to thank me. You would do the same for me. I would, without a doubt. They hugged. Abraham held that hug longer than usual, committing to memory the feeling of having someone who cared. When Caleb left that night, Abraham stood looking at the empty street for a long time. The house had furniture now. It had food in the refrigerator. It had clothes in the closet. But the loneliness was still there, waiting to return in full force. The first days after Caleb's departure were hard. Abraham woke up early, ate his meals, watched television, slept. The routine was mechanical, lifeless. Caleb called every day. He told him how things were in Chicago, the small new apartment he had rented, his co-workers, the big, busy city. And you, how are you? He always asked. Fine. Everything's quiet here. But it wasn't quiet. It was empty. Abraham felt as if he had gone back to the beginning, those days right after he was left alone. Except now he had furniture and food. What was missing was company, purpose. One afternoon, 3 weeks after Caleb's departure, someone knocked on Abraham's door. He opened it and came face to face with a woman of about 60, short, plump, with curious eyes. Good afternoon. Are you Mr. Abraham? I am. Who are you? My name is Beatrice. I'm from the church down the street. Martha told me about you. Martha? Caleb's mother? That's right. She called me and asked me to come by and check on you, see if you needed anything. Abraham didn't know what to feel. On one hand, he was touched by the concern. On the other, he felt a pang of wounded pride. He didn't want to become a charity case. I don't need anything, thank you. I imagine not, but I came here with another proposal. What proposal? We have a group at the church. It's older people who meet twice a week. They play dominoes, talk, do crafts. It's a way to not be alone at home. Martha thought you might like to join. I'm not very religious. You don't have to be. The group isn't about religion, it's about company. Abraham was about to refuse, but then he thought of the empty afternoons, the silence of the house, the loneliness that was slowly consuming him. What days do you meet? Tuesday and Thursday afternoons from 2 to 5. It's at the church on the corner. Very close. I'll think about it. Please do. And if you decide to come, show up on Thursday. You'll be welcome. Beatrice said goodbye with a warm smile. Abraham closed the door and stood thinking. Should he go? Would he be able to fit in with strangers? On Thursday, after much thought, he decided to give it a chance. He arrived at the church at 2 o'clock sharp. There were about 15 people there, all over 60. They were sitting in a circle, chatting animatedly. Beatrice saw him and came running to greet him. I'm so glad you came. Come, I'll introduce you to everyone. The introductions were quick. There was Mr. Walter, an 80-year-old gentleman who wouldn't stop telling jokes. Mrs. Dolores, a widow like him who enjoyed crocheting. Mr. Arthur, who played dominoes like no one else. Mrs. Gladys, who brought delicious cakes every Thursday, and several others. At first Abraham was shy, just observing. But little by little he joined the conversations. He discovered that many there had stories similar to his, children who didn't call, loneliness, abandonment. It's the modern world, Mrs. Dolores commented. The kids grow up and forget their parents. They think we're not good for anything anymore. Not all of them are like that, Mr. Walter pondered. My grandchildren visit me every weekend. You're lucky then, Abraham said. I am indeed, but I know it's not like that for everyone. When the afternoon ended, Abraham felt lighter than he had in weeks. He wasn't cured of the pain of abandonment, but at least he didn't feel so alone. The next Tuesday he went back, and the following Thursday too. The group became part of his routine. He made friends. He learned to play dominoes properly. He even started helping Mrs. Gladys make the cakes. Caleb called on Saturday excited. My mother told me you're going to the church group. I am. It was her idea. And are you liking it? I am. I met good people. It helps pass the time. That's great. I'm really happy for you, Mr. Abraham. Truly. And you? How are things there? Good. The work is tough, but the pay is worth it. I've already managed to send some money to my mother. She'll be able to stop taking so many cleaning gigs. That's good, son. You deserve it. Dear listener, if you are enjoying the story, please take a moment to leave a like and especially to subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out, now continuing. The months went by. Abraham kept his routine, church group, Sunday lunches at Martha's house, who insisted on continuing the invitation even with Caleb far away, weekly calls with Caleb. Life wasn't perfect, but it was tolerable. Until one Tuesday, everything changed again. Abraham was at the church group when his phone rang. It was an unknown number. He normally didn't answer, but something made him answer this time. Hello? Dad? Abraham's heart stopped. It was the voice of Rachel, his daughter. Rachel? It's me. Hi, Dad. Abraham left the room where the group was meeting and went into the church hallway. His hands were shaking. What do you want? His voice came out harsher than he intended, but he couldn't help it. It was the first time any of his children had made contact since the abandonment. We need to talk, in person. About what? About everything. About what happened. About things you need to know. What things? I can't talk about it on the phone. Can I come there tomorrow? Abraham wanted to say no. He wanted to hang up on her, but curiosity was stronger. You can. What time? After lunch, around 2. Okay. I'll be there. See you tomorrow, Dad. See you. Abraham hung up and stood still in the hallway, processing what had happened. Rachel was going to visit him. After months of silence, she was going to show up. What on earth did she want? He returned to the group, but couldn't concentrate on the conversations anymore. His mind was racing a mile a minute, trying to understand what was going on. That night, he called Caleb. You won't believe it. What? My daughter called. She's going to visit me tomorrow. Really? What a surprise. Yeah, I don't even know what to think. What did she say? That she needs to talk to me, that there are things I need to know. What things? I don't know. She didn't want to talk on the phone. Caleb fell silent for a moment. How are you feeling? Confused, angry, curious, all at once. It's natural, but take it easy, okay? Don't get your hopes up. It could be anything. I know. Call me later to tell me what happened. I will. Abraham didn't sleep well that night. He kept tossing and turning in bed, wondering what Rachel could want. Was she coming to apologize? Had something happened to her brothers? Were they in trouble and needed help? The next day he cleaned the entire house. He didn't know why, but he wanted everything to look presentable. Maybe it was pride. He wanted Rachel to see that he had survived without her. At 2 o'clock sharp, the doorbell rang. Abraham took a deep breath before opening the door. Rachel was there. Her 42 years were etched on her face. She had deep, dark circles. Her hair was unkempt. She seemed to have lost a lot of weight since the last time Abraham had seen her. "Hi, Dad. Come in." She entered slowly, looking around. She saw the simple furniture, different from what she had helped take away. "You managed to furnish it again." "I did." Abraham's tone was cold. Rachel noticed. They sat on the sofa, one at each end. The silence was uncomfortable. "So," Abraham began, "what do you want?" Rachel fidgeted with her hands nervously. "I want to apologize." "Apologize?" "For what we did. It was wrong, very wrong. I know that now." "Now? You didn't know before?" At the time it seemed to make sense. But I was wrong. We were wrong." Abraham crossed his arms. "And what changed? Why did you decide to show up now?" Rachel took a deep breath. Her eyes filled with tears. "Because I'm going through the same thing." "What do you mean?" "My husband left me. He took half the things in the house, left me with debts. He just left and abandoned me." Abraham said nothing. He waited for her to continue. "And when that happened, when I found myself alone and with no one, I understood. I understood the pain you must have felt when we did that to you." "Must have felt." "Felt. The pain you felt." She wiped her tears. "I'm sorry, Dad. I'm really sorry." Abraham wanted to shout. He wanted to say that apologies weren't enough, that she had left him to wither alone, that they had taken everything he had, that he had almost not survived the pain of abandonment. But seeing her there, crying, vulnerable, he felt the anger wasn't as strong as he imagined. "Why did you do that?" he asked, his voice softer now. "Did I do something wrong? Did I hurt you in some way?" Rachel shook her head. "It wasn't you. It was complicated." "Explain it to me then. Help me understand." She wiped her tears with the back of her hand. "Remember when Mom passed away?" "Of course I remember. A few months before she left, she called me to talk, just the two of us, and she told me something." Abraham's heart began to beat faster. "What did she tell you?" She said you had had an affair, years ago, that she had found out and forgiven you, but never forgot." Abraham's blood ran cold. "What affair?" "With a woman from your work. Mom didn't tell me the name, but she said it lasted almost a year, that you almost left us because of that woman." Abraham felt as if he had been punched in the stomach. "Your mother told you that?" "She did. And she said she never truly forgave you, that she pretended everything was fine, but inside she held on to that hurt. She asked me to tell Jacob and Ethan after she was gone. And you told them." "I did, and we got angry with you. We felt you had betrayed her." "That you had betrayed us. That's why we decided to give you a taste of your own medicine." Abraham put his face in his hands. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Rachel, your mother lied to you." It was Rachel's turn to be shocked. "What?" "I never had an affair with anyone, never. I loved your mother more than anything. I would never do that to her. But she said, I don't know why she made that up. Maybe she was confused because of the illness. Maybe the medication affected her mind. I don't know, but I swear on your mother's memory that I never cheated on her." Rachel turned pale. No, that can't be. It's the truth. Ask anyone you want. Ask my old friends. Ask the guys at the shop. There was never another woman, only your mother. But why would she make that up? I don't know. Maybe in the end she was mixing things up. Maybe it was a crisis of insecurity. Your mother went through a lot in the last few months. Illness messes with your head. Rachel started crying again, but now it was a different kind of cry. It was despair. My God, what have we done? You believed a lie, and you punished me for something that never happened. Dad, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You destroyed my life over a lie. You took everything I had. You left me alone, sick, with nothing. I almost didn't survive that. I know, and I'm sorry. We were blinded by anger. We thought we were doing justice, but we were just being cruel. Abraham closed his eyes. He felt a whirlwind of emotions: anger, sadness, relief at finally understanding the reason, frustration that the reason was based on a lie. Do the others know? Do Jacob and Ethan know you came here? No, they don't even want to talk about you. When I tried to suggest that maybe we had been unfair, they shut me down. They say you deserve to be alone, even knowing it might be a lie. They don't even want to consider that possibility. They're firm in Mom's version. And you? Do you believe me? Rachel looked into his eyes. It took a few seconds before she answered. I believe you. Looking at you now, seeing how you are, I believe you. And I feel horrible for it. Horrible why? Because if we were wrong, if Mom lied, then we destroyed you for no reason, and that is unforgivable. They sat in silence for several minutes. The weight of the revelation hung in the air. What do you want from me now, Rachel? Abraham finally asked. I want to win you back. I want to try to fix what we broke, if you'll let me. It's not that simple. I know. I'm not asking for immediate forgiveness. I'm just asking for a chance. To get to know you again. To be present in your life, to be your daughter for real. Abraham looked at the woman in front of him. His daughter. The girl he raised, who he taught to ride a bike, who he took to school on the first day, who he watched grow up and become an adult. The girl who abandoned him based on a lie. Part of him wanted to send her away. Wanted to make her feel the same pain he felt. But another part, a deeper part, just wanted his daughter back. It will take time, he said finally. I know. And I can't guarantee I'll be able to forgive completely. I understand. But we can try. Rachel let out a sigh of relief mixed with tears. Thank you, Dad. Thank you for giving me this chance. She stood up and took a step toward him, as if to hug him. But Abraham remained seated, and she understood the message. It wasn't time yet. Can I come back next week? You can. And Dad, about the money we took, I will pay it back. I don't know when, because with the divorce I'm a bit tight right now, but I will pay back every cent. I don't want your money, Rachel. I just want honesty from now on. You'll have it, I promise. After Rachel left, Abraham sat on the couch for hours. His mind was exhausted, trying to process everything he had heard. Sarah had lied. At the end of her life, consumed by illness and medication, his wife had created a false story that destroyed his relationship with his children. Why? He would never know. But the damage was done. That night he called Caleb and told him everything. Dude, that's heavy, Caleb said on the other end of the line. I don't know what to do. What do you want to do? Part of me wants to send her away, never speak to her again. Let her feel the same way I felt. And the other part? The other part wants my daughter back, wants to try to rebuild. But will I ever be able to trust her again? I don't know, Abraham. Only you can answer that. She said the other two don't even want to hear about me. Then focus on her. If she wants a chance, give it to her. See how it goes. What if she hurts me again? Then you walk away for good. But at least you'll have tried. Abraham was thoughtful. You're right. I need to at least try. Yeah, and look, no matter what happens, you're not alone. You have the church group, you have my mom, you have me. You built a new family. That's true, a family I chose. Exactly. When he hung up, Abraham felt a little better. Caleb was right. He wasn't as alone as before. He had people who cared. And that was more than he had a few months ago. The following week, Rachel came back as promised. This time the conversation was lighter. She told him about her life, the messy divorce, the financial problems. Abraham listened without judging. She asked about his life, and he told her about Caleb, about the church group, about how he was slowly rebuilding. "You seem better than I expected," she commented. "I had help, a lot of help." "This Caleb seems like a good guy." "Yeah, better than a lot of blood sons out there." Rachel lowered her head, understanding the hint. But she didn't argue. She knew she deserved it. The visits became weekly. Abraham slowly began to open up to Rachel again. It wasn't like before, it probably never would be again. But it was a start. One day she arrived with news. "I got a new job, it pays better. I'll be able to start paying you back the money in a few months. I already said I don't want it. But I'm going to pay you back anyway, it's the least I can do." "Rachel, I don't need money, I have enough to live on. What I needed was to have you all back." "And you do. At least you have me. I'll work on the other two. Don't force it. If they don't want to, let it be." "I can't let it be. We messed up badly, Dad. And I need to make them understand that." Abraham didn't have much hope for the other children. Jacob and Ethan had always been more stubborn. But he let Rachel try. Another 3 months passed. The relationship with Rachel grew stronger. She started going to Sunday lunches at Martha's house, along with Abraham. Martha welcomed her with open arms, despite knowing the whole story. "Everyone deserves a second chance," she said. Caleb came back to visit over a long holiday. He met Rachel and was polite, but Abraham noticed a certain coldness from the young man. He was protective of him. He didn't fully trust the daughter. "Don't worry," Abraham said to Caleb when they were alone. "I know what I'm doing. I just don't want to see you hurt again." "I won't be. I learned to protect myself." "I hope so." It was on a Tuesday, at the church group, that Abraham received another unexpected call. This time it was Ethan, the youngest son. "Dad, we need to talk." "About what?" "About everything. About what Rachel has been saying. About Mom's story." "Do you want to come here?" "I do. Me and Jacob. Saturday morning, okay?" Abraham hesitated. Was he ready to face the other two? "Okay." On Saturday, the 3 children showed up together. It was the first time in almost a year that Abraham saw them all together. Jacob looked older, with white streaks in his hair. Ethan had gained a little weight. Both looked uncomfortable. "So," Abraham began after everyone sat down. "What do you want?" Jacob got straight to the point. "Rachel told us her version. About your mother lying." "It's not a version. It's the truth. How can we be sure of that?" "How can you be sure your mother told the truth? She was dying, sedated, probably confused. And yet you believed her blindly." "Because she was our mother," Ethan said. "Why would she lie?" "I don't know. But I'm telling you, I never had an affair with anyone. You can investigate. You can talk to anyone you want. You'll find out I'm telling the truth." Jacob and Ethan exchanged glances. "We did that," Jacob admitted. "We talked to some of your friends from back then, to people from the shop. No one ever heard of any affair." "So you know she lied?" "Or she was confused," Ethan pondered. "It doesn't mean she lied on purpose." "It doesn't matter if it was on purpose or not. What matters is that you condemned me without giving me a chance to defend myself. You took everything I had and abandoned me based on a story you never checked." Silence. "You're right," Jacob finally said. "We were wrong. Terribly wrong." "We made a huge mistake," Ethan agreed. "And what do you want now? For me to forgive and for us to be a happy family again?" "No," Jacob answered. "We know it's not that easy. We just want a chance to try and make things right. And give back what you took. That too, we'll give everything back. It might take some time, but we'll give it back." Abraham looked at his 3 children gathered there. Part of him was still hurt. He still felt anger, But another part, a part that had grown in the last few months, understood that holding a grudge would only hurt him more. "Look, I don't know if I can forgive you, at least not now. What you did was very painful, very cruel, and it's going to take me some time to process all of this." "We understand," Rachel said. "But," Abraham continued, "if you are truly sorry, if you truly want to try and make things right, I'll give you a chance. One chance only. If you hurt me again, it's over for good." "We won't hurt you," Ethan promised. "We'll do it right this time," Jacob added. "I hope so, because I can't take any more suffering because of you." The meeting ended with a heavy but hopeful atmosphere. The children promised to start visiting him regularly. They promised to give the money back little by little. They promised to be present. Abraham didn't fully trust these promises yet, but he decided to give them the benefit of the doubt. When he told Caleb everything that night, the young man was silent for a while. "How are you feeling?" "Confused, relieved, scared, all at once." "I think that's normal. Do you think I'm doing the right thing by giving them this chance?" "I don't know. Only you can decide that. But I think you deserve peace, and if having your children back brings you peace, then it's right. And if it brings me more pain? Then you walk away and move on. You're stronger than you think, Mr. Abraham. I learned to be strong out of necessity. Still, it's strength, and I admire you for it." In the following months, the children kept their promises. They started visiting regularly. Jacob showed up every Saturday, Ethan on Tuesdays. Rachel kept coming on Wednesdays. Little by little, they returned the money they had taken. They brought back some of the old furniture they had sold. They couldn't recover everything, but they brought what they could. And slowly, very slowly, Abraham began to forgive. It wasn't easy. There were days when the hurt came back strong, days when he wanted to send them all away. But with time, the wounds began to heal. Caleb came back for another visit and was surprised by the change. "Your house is full of people now." It was Sunday, and Abraham's 3 children were there, along with Martha, Caleb, and some friends from the church group who had been invited for lunch. "Yeah, who would have thought, huh? How are you feeling with all this?" "Better, much better. It still hurts when I remember what I went through. But it's healing. I'm happy for you. Caleb, I wanted to thank you." "Thank me for what?" "For saving my life, literally. If you hadn't shown up that day, I probably wouldn't be here today." "Don't talk like that. It's the truth. You showed me that it was still worth going on, that there were still good people in the world. You gave me strength when I had none left." Caleb was moved. "You changed my life too, Abraham. You taught me things I'll never forget." "What things?" "You taught me that family isn't just blood, that we can choose who we love, that kindness always comes back in some way, and that even in the worst situations there's always hope." The two hugged. It was a hug between father and son, even without blood ties. "You'll always be my son, Caleb, no matter what happens. And you'll always be my father, Abraham." The lunch was joyful. There was plenty of food, lively conversation, laughter. It was so different from those empty, silent days months ago that Abraham could hardly believe it. That night, when everyone had left and he was alone in the house, Abraham sat on the sofa and looked around. The furniture, some new, some restored, the photos on the wall, including a new one of everyone together taken that day, the noise still echoing in his memory. His life had completely changed. He had hit rock bottom, faced abandonment, absolute loneliness. He had almost given up. But he had survived, and he hadn't survived alone. He had had Caleb, who appeared like an angel when he needed it most. He had had Martha and her generous heart. He had had the church group and their warm company, and now he had his children back, trying to fix the mistake they had made. It wasn't perfect. It would never be like before again. The scars were there, and always would be. But it was good. It was life. It was connection. Abraham thought of Sarah. He still didn't understand why she had lied in the end. Maybe he never would. But he chose to forgive her too. He would keep the good memories of the many happy years they had together and leave the rest in the past. He picked up his phone and called Caleb. "Forget something?" Caleb answered, laughing. "No, I just wanted to say again, thank you for everything." "Stop that. You've thanked me 1,000 times already." And I'll thank you 1,000 more if I need to. All right, I accept. But now you get some rest, you stubborn old man. I will. You too. See you next week. See you. Abraham hung up with a smile on his face. For the first time in a long time, he felt peace. He felt he was exactly where he was supposed to be. Life had knocked him down. It had taken everything. But he had gotten up. He had rebuilt. He had found strength where he didn't know he had any. And he had learned that sometimes your true family isn't the one you're born with, but the one that chooses to stand by your side when everything falls apart. He lay in bed and closed his eyes. Tomorrow would be a new day, and he was ready to live it. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, please take a moment to leave a like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now continuing. The months kept passing, and a routine was established. Abraham had busy days now. In the morning, he went for walks with his friend Walter from the church group. In the afternoon, he visited Martha, or received a visit from one of his children. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, he attended the group. On Sundays, there was the family lunch that had become a tradition. It was at one of these Sunday lunches that something unexpected happened. Jacob arrived with a proposal. "Dad, we were talking, me, Rachel, and Ethan, and we wanted to suggest something." "What is it?" "We wanted to renovate the house, paint, fix what's broken, improve a few things." Abraham raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "Because the house needs it, and because we want to do this for you, as a way to show that we care. I don't need renovations. The house is fine the way it is. Dad, the roof is leaking, the kitchen wall has mold, the electrical wiring is old and dangerous. Let us fix this." Abraham was about to refuse, but Rachel intervened. "Please, Dad, let us do this. It's important for us to be able to give back at least a little. You already returned the money, that's enough." "It's not," Ethan said. "We need to do more. We need to show that we're really here for you." Martha, who was present, gave Abraham a gentle nudge. "Let them do it, Abraham. It's good for everyone." Abraham sighed. He knew he was losing this battle. "All right, but nothing too expensive." "We promise," Jacob said with a smile. The renovation began the following month. The 3 children showed up on weekends to work on the house. They painted the walls, replaced the broken shingles, rewired the electrical system, sanded and varnished the wooden floor. Caleb took advantage of a holiday to come back and help too. It was strange at first, seeing Caleb working alongside Abraham's children. There was a tension in the air, especially between Caleb and Jacob. Abraham noticed it at one point when the two were painting the same wall in absolute silence. "You two are awfully quiet," he commented. "It's fine," Jacob replied curtly. "No, it's not. I can feel the tension from here. What's going on?" Caleb put down the paint roller. "Nothing's going on. Just doing what I came to do." "Caleb, let it go, Mr. Abraham." But Jacob didn't let it go. "Look, I know you must think I'm the worst person in the world, and maybe I am, but I'm trying to make things right." "You're trying to make things right now," Caleb said, turning to him. "But where were you when your father was almost wasting away alone in that empty house? Where were you when he didn't even have food to eat? I know, I failed." "No, you didn't fail. Failing is when you try and don't succeed. You didn't even try. You abandoned him on purpose. And you think I don't live with that every day? You think I don't hate myself for what I did? I don't know and I don't care. I just know I was there when nobody else was. So don't come around now trying to play the son of the year." Abraham approached the two. "Enough, both of you." "Mr. Abraham, No, Caleb. Let me speak now. Jacob, Caleb is right. You and your siblings did a horrible thing to me. And he showed up when you had abandoned me. He saved me. Literally. So I understand his anger." Jacob lowered his head. "But," Abraham continued, "you are trying to make things right. And I agreed to give you that chance. So, Caleb, you need to accept that too. If not for them, for me." Caleb took a deep breath. "All right, but only because you're asking." "That's what I'm asking." The tension eased a bit after that. Caleb and Jacob didn't become friends, but at least they worked together without explicit hostility. The renovation took 2 months. When it was finished, the house was transformed. Walls painted a warm light beige, a new roof without leaks, plumbing fixed, safe electrical wiring, windows that closed properly, even a small garden in the front that Ethan had insisted on making. On the day of the housewarming, Abraham invited everyone who had been important on his journey. Martha and Caleb, of course, the whole church group, some neighbors who had been kind, his 3 children and their families. The house was full. There was food, soft music playing, lively conversations. Abraham looked around and felt his heart warm. Walter approached him. "Nice party, Abraham. Thank you. You deserve all this, you know, after everything you've been through. Sometimes I still can't believe all this is happening. Believe it. You suffered, but now you're reaping good things. I hope so." During the party, Abraham noticed something curious. Caleb was talking with Rachel in the corner of the living room. They seemed to be having a serious but not hostile conversation. After a while, Rachel came to him. "I talked to Caleb. I formally apologized for everything. He accepted. I think we can start getting along better now." "That's good. Dad, can I ask you a question?" "Go ahead." "How did you manage to forgive us, after everything?" Abraham thought before answering. "It wasn't easy, and it wasn't quick. But I realized something. Holding a grudge was only hurting me more. You had already hurt me once. Why would I let you keep hurting me by staying stuck in that resentment? I don't know if I could do the same in your place. You can. When it's someone you love, you always can. You just have to want to. I love you, Dad. You know that?" "I do. And I love you too." They hugged. It was a real hug, full of emotion. Nothing like those mechanical hugs from before. When the party started to disperse and people began to leave, Caleb was one of the last to go. He had to catch an early morning bus back to Chicago. "It was a good party," he said as he said goodbye. "It was, and you were key to all of this. Don't exaggerate." "I'm not exaggerating. Without you, none of this would be happening. I'd probably be—" "No, don't go down that road. You're here, you're alive, you're well, that's what matters." "True. And look, I liked your kids. Sort of," Caleb added with a half-smile. "They liked you too. Rachel told me." "Yeah, we talked. She seems to be really trying." "She is. Everyone is." "Then I'm glad. You deserve to have your family back." "But you're still my family too, Caleb. That will never change." "I know, and you'll always be my family too." They hugged tightly. It was a goodbye hug for now, because they knew they would see each other again soon. After everyone had left, Abraham was alone in the renovated house. He walked through the rooms, touching the freshly painted walls, smelling the newness. He sat on the living room sofa and stayed there, just taking it all in. His life had come full circle. It had begun in despair and loneliness, had gone through pain and abandonment, but now he was in a place of peace and connection. Of course, the scars were still there. They always would be. There were nights when he woke up thinking about those terrible days right after the kids left. There were moments when the hurt tried to come back. But he had learned to deal with it. He had learned that healing isn't forgetting. It's being able to remember without it hurting so much. It's being able to move forward, carrying the memories but not being a prisoner to them. And he had learned the greatest lesson of all, that alone we are nothing, but with the right people by our side we can overcome anything. He picked up his phone and opened the WhatsApp group that Rachel had created with him and his siblings. There were affectionate messages from the evening, thanking him for the party, saying they were happy to see him doing so well. He typed a reply. "Thank you all, for being here, for trying, for not giving up on me even when I had given up on you. I love you." The replies came quickly. Hearts, words of love, promises to always be there. Abraham turned off his phone and went to sleep. For the first time in many years, he slept without any nightmares, without any anguish. Just peace. In the months that followed, life continued at its new pace. Abraham had more energy now. He started helping with the church group more actively, organizing the meetings, coordinating the domino games, even giving advice to other elderly people going through difficult situations. Mrs. Dolores from the group commented one day, "You've changed a lot, Abraham. When you first got here, you seemed like a defeated man. Now you're full of life." People change when they need to, or when they want to, and you wanted to. I had no choice. It was change or die inside. You chose well then. One day, Jacob arrived with some news. "Dad, I got a contact at the City Hall. They have a program to renovate houses for low-income seniors. And there's another assistance program. I think you qualify. I don't need that, I'm fine. I know you don't need it now, but what if you need it in the future? It's worth signing up. Jacob, I really am fine. I have my pension. I have the money you all paid back. I don't need help from the city." Then let me put it another way. There are other seniors who need it, and you could help spread the word about these programs in your church group. Abraham understood then. Jacob wasn't talking about him. He was talking about the others. "All right, give me the information and I'll spread the word." And that's what he did. He started bringing information about social programs, about seniors' rights, about available assistance. He became a kind of bridge between the group and the city's services. Mr. Walter benefited from a health program. Mrs. Gladys got her bathroom renovated to be age-adapted. Others got other kinds of help. "You're making a difference in people's lives," Martha commented during one of the Sunday lunches. "I'm just passing along information." No, you're doing more than that. You're taking care of the community. You're giving back the help you received. Maybe. Definitely. It was on an ordinary Saturday that Abraham got a call he wasn't expecting. It was from a number he didn't know. "Hello? Mr. Abraham, my name is Megan. I'm a social worker from the City Hall. Your Jacob gave me your contact." "Oh yes, hi. You've been working with a seniors group at the church on your street, right?" "Working is a way of putting it, but yes, I'm part of the group." "Right, we're starting a new project. We want to create a support network for seniors in vulnerable situations, and we think you'd be perfect to help with that." "Me? How?" "You went through a difficult situation and overcame it. You have experience with social programs now, and from what Jacob told me, you have a gift for dealing with people. We'd like you to be a kind of volunteer coordinator in your area. I don't know if I'm the right person for that. I think you are. Think about it carefully. You don't need to answer now." When Megan hung up, Abraham was thoughtful. Volunteer coordinator. Him? A 72-year-old man who months ago could barely get out of bed. He talked about it with Martha on Sunday. "You should accept," she said without hesitation, "but I don't have experience with these things." "You have life experience. That's worth more than any course." "And what if I can't handle it?" "You will. You're more capable than you think." Caleb also thought he should accept when they talked on the phone. "It's a chance to turn your pain into something good, Mr. Abraham, to help other people going through what you went through." "When did you get so wise?" "I learned from a stubborn old man I know." Abraham laughed. "All right, I'll accept. But if I mess up, it's your fault. I'll take the blame." And so Abraham began another phase of his life. He became the volunteer coordinator for the Senior Support Project. His house became a reference point. People went there seeking information, advice, sometimes just company. He organized meetings, talks, activities. He created a network where seniors helped other seniors. Those who knew how to sew taught. Those who knew how to cook shared recipes. Those who had a car gave rides to the doctor. The project grew. In 6 months, it had over 50 participants. In a year, over 100. The City Hall started providing more resources. They got a space bigger than the church. Abraham was busier than ever, but it was a good kind of busy. It had purpose. It had meaning. It was during one of these afternoons, during a project meeting, that something special happened. A new lady in the group timidly raised her hand. "I wanted to thank Mr. Abraham. My children had abandoned me. I was alone and depressed. But here I found a new family, people who care, and that saved my life." Abraham felt his eyes well up. That was exactly what Caleb had done for him. And now he was doing the same for others. The circle was closing. That night, alone at home, Abraham looked at the pictures on the wall. There were old photos from when his children were little. There were new photos from Sunday lunches. There was a photo of him with Caleb and Martha. There were photos of the church group, photos from the project. Each photo told part of his story. The story of a man who was knocked down but didn't stay down, who was abandoned but found a new family, who suffered but turned pain into purpose. He called Caleb. "Hi, Mr. Abraham. Is everything okay?" "Everything's great. I just called to say one thing." "What?" "Thank you, once again, for saving my life. You've thanked me for that 1,000 times. And I'll thank you 1,000 more, because without you, none of what's happening now would be possible." "Ah, Mr. Abraham. Let me finish. You showed up when I had given up, when I thought it wasn't worth going on anymore. And you showed me that it's always worth it, that there's always hope. Today I'm here, helping other people, making a difference. And it all started with you knocking on my door with that wrong delivery. It wasn't wrong. It was exactly where it was supposed to be delivered. True, it was the right place at the right time. And you did the rest. You were the one who had the courage to accept help. You were the one who had the strength to forgive your children. You were the one who turned suffering into something beautiful. I just gave the initial push. It was a good push. It was. And I'm proud of you. Thank you, son." They talked for another hour, about life, about plans, about memories. When they hung up, Abraham felt complete. He looked out the window. The street was quiet. The night was calm. Inside the house, everything was at peace. It had taken months, almost a year, but he had made it. He had survived. He had gotten back up. He had forgiven. He had rebuilt. And more than that, he had found a new purpose. He was no longer just a retired old man waiting for the days to pass. He was someone who made a difference, who mattered, who had a reason to wake up every day. Life had tried to break him, and it almost succeeded. But he was stronger than he imagined. With help, with love, with determination, he had overcome the impossible. And now he was on the other side, not unscathed, not without scars, but alive, present, whole. Abraham smiled to himself. Tomorrow would be another day, another project meeting, another chance to help someone, another opportunity to make a difference. And he was ready. He always would be. End of story. And you? What did you think of this story? Have you ever been through something similar or know someone who has? Tell us in the comments. We want to know your honest opinion. Do you believe Abraham did the right thing by forgiving his children? We love reading what you think. Thank you so much for staying with us until the end. Don't forget to leave your like and, more importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other emotional stories like this one.